What's up, Saints? Happy Sunday to you. I just got a few words to say to you right quick about control. And in the military, we call it command and control. And that means there's somebody in command, but their goal is to control you. Control what you say, what you do, what you think, even sometimes. And you got a lot of people who are fighting and struggling and elbowing and trying to get in. It's like trying to get a rebound in a basketball game. Everybody's trying to get position to get control. And I was thinking last night about political parties, and I hate politics, but with all the stuff that's been happening this past, really since Trump got elected, is really politics. You have to look at politics. I mean, as a Christian, does it affect you? Yeah, it's definitely going to affect you. It's going to affect the way you worship. And the governor, by the way, I'm thinking about that. The governor of the state of California is sort of mandating. He's trying to mandate that Christians can't worship. Now, I don't know if I probably should have looked this up before I did this video, but he's mandating that there should not be any type of worship for fear of the coronavirus. So remember coronavirus from a couple months ago? Remember that? Yeah, it's still around. It's still blowing up. And the reason it's blowing up is that this is summertime. And people are going on vacation. They're going on places where California, the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, Alabama. They're going to Arizona, Texas, all along Florida, and in that area where Americans go on vacation. And those numbers are going up. So quite naturally, coronavirus hasn't gone anywhere, but quite naturally the numbers in these areas are going up. And those people who want command and control, politicians, mayors, governors, they're instituting all these rules and regulations because coronavirus is still around. This is a virus now. That it's a real thing. Okay, it's not fake. It's not made up or anything. Well, it might be made up, meaning not naturally occurring. Okay, the CDC and all these other big brains are saying, "Wow, it's naturally occurring," but honestly, it's not acting like something that's naturally occurring. Not to me. To not the way I'm looking at it. It's just not seeming naturally occurring. But it's still there, and these mayors and so forth are using these rules because of the coronavirus to get control. Got to wear a mask. I know a couple cities, they did that in the last few days. You got to wear a mask. In the county I live in, they instituted that yesterday. If you leave your house and you go in any kind of business, even though the business may not say you have to wear a mask, they're saying at the government level, yes, you need to have a mask on. Now the way they're wording it is don't infect me. You have to be courteous to others. And I think I mentioned this in a few videos ago, that I can see certain governors, certain mayors saying, hey, if you infected somebody, they may even bring you up on charges if you didn't have a mask on and people within your space got infected because of you. They would have to be able to draw it in and say it was you who infected these people. They may even be able to bring you up on some kind of charges. But in my county, I think it's a $25 fine if you don't have your mask on. There are other places where it's just along the coast. There, you go somewhere and on vacation, and you quarantine. They're going to start this also in these areas where it's blowing up. When you come back to wherever you live in Iowa or something, and you go to Arizona, when you come back, you're going to have to quarantine when you come back. Now, I don't know how they can know you've been there, but unless you've been coming off a plane, coming from Arizona or Texas or somewhere, but wherever these numbers are expanding, you're going to have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Maybe even when you get there, you're going to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Conceivably, you're going to see relatives. You go to see relatives, they could put up with you for 2 weeks, and you might have to be quarantined at their place for 2 weeks. And now, this is a virus that over 90% of the people get it, recover. And honestly, I believe most of us have already had it, because this virus it acts very, and this is why I say I don't believe it's naturally occurring. Having spent a lot of time in the military, when you're looking at a biological weapon that you want to use, this has two other things that would make the CDC. These guys were up all night. I guarantee you, they at the onset of this, they were up all night. Number one, is it airborne? And I'm not talking about 6 feet. I'm talking about I could cough and somebody in Chattanooga gets it. You know what I mean? It's airborne. And for all we know, it adheres to pollen or water droplets, and if that's the case, then it's in the atmosphere. If it adheres to water droplets, it's in the atmosphere. What's the life cycle of this thing? Does it die? Obviously, sunlight doesn't kill it like most viruses, because it's blowing up. Summertime, it's still blowing up. So most of us, conceivably, most of us have it. Now, if you remember, about 3 months ago, they said there's no need for masks. And that went to a month later, well, maybe you should wear a mask. Okay? And now they're saying, some places are saying masks are mandatory. Be courteous. Now, don't infect anybody else, even though you may not even have it. Oh, but you might have it and not know. You mean you're asymptomatic? That's the other horrific thing that the CDC guys is up all night biting their fingernails over. Can you be asymptomatic and still pass it? Now, when you have those two things, just from a military perspective, you got a heck of a biological weapon. It's in the atmosphere. It's got a long, if you will, shelf life. And you can be asymptomatic and still pass it out. Still infect others without even knowing you have it. And honestly, I believe most of us, and that'll come out with these, if more people start taking antibody tests and find out, I have had this thing. I don't know when I got it, but I've had it. And so it's a lot about what the CDC and the powers that be know that they haven't told us, or they're just finding out. And honestly, I'm leaning more toward that. They're still finding out about this virus. They really don't know. They're finding out as they go along. So this virus is still around. And I say all that to say this. It's being used, and it's going to continue to be used as a campaign issue. As the election comes nearer and nearer and nearer, campaign issue. They're gonna use it for control, command and control. That's what they're looking for, command and control. Mayors are going to use it. Governors are going to use it. You keep going up and up, and they're going to use it. They're going to keep using it so that we have no choice but to adhere to what they say, because they want to be in control. Now, we still have protests going on all around the country. And by the way, while I'm thinking of this, I saw a little news clip a couple hours ago that last evening, a 7-year-old was shot and killed in Chicago. 7 years old. Now, I don't watch the news anymore, so I don't know if that was on the news. I found it on the internet. But people should be outraged. Honestly, people should be outraged. And I'm going to look that up and see if people are actually outraged. And I, on the news feed, which came off of a TV station in Chicago, I thought it was strange that the reporter said they were hoping for a weekend when no children were killed. She didn't say where nobody was killed. She said, because she knows they're asking too much, especially in Chicago. But she said a weekend where no children were killed. That's sad. because I think the last 3 or 4 weekends, somebody under the age of 10 was murdered. Murdered. Not got hit by a car or choked on something or drowned at the park or something. Was shot to death, was murdered. Somebody under the age of 10. Every weekend for the last 3 or 4 weekends. That's completely unacceptable, America. That's terrible. That's trifling. That is flat out trifling. And you talk about outrage, that's ridiculous. But the protests are still going on. Black Lives Matter has become, I'm going to say this crazy, Black Lives Matter has become the most powerful political party in America. They're the most powerful political party. They are a political party very much like the Democrats and the Republicans and the Libertarians and whoever else is a political party. They're just like them, and they're very powerful. Everybody's bowing down to them. Everybody's kissing their kneecaps. The NFL is gonna sing. I guess instead of the national anthem, they're gonna sing the black national anthem. Most of y'all didn't even know there was a black national anthem. I'm sure of that. Most white people and black people didn't know there was something called the Negro National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing. I've learned about it because we used to sing it when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school in the 60s. Okay? This ain't the 60s, y'all. Why are we acting like we still oppressed? This ain't the 60s. But I learned of it, and the NFL's bowing down to them. I think they're doing it because the majority of the league is black. So they figure the players are going to quit or revolt or whatever if they don't. They're coming up with all these things and all these ideas that they think they're basically, kissing black people's butts, what they're doing. This stuff is not necessary. It's not necessary. So anybody who's doesn't want to be viewed as a racist is going along with whatever Black Lives Matter is saying. They're raising all kind of money, hundreds of millions of dollars in donations. Who are they? Have you really checked out who Black Lives Matter is? They have enough money, they could fix problems in black communities without anybody else. That's what I mean when I say they're a serious political party. Listen, they may not have a candidate running for president this time, but Joe Biden is gonna do everything he can to make sure Black Lives Matter is not on his butt. Anything that they say, if they cough, he gonna be there to cover their mouth for them. I guarantee you. Now, Trump, not so much. But Democrats, yes. In the next election, 2024, Black Lives Matter is going to have a candidate, and they're going to be running with a platform, just like the Democrats, just like the Republicans. They are very powerful right now, and very quickly they got powerful. So this is command and control. They want control. They want some kind of control. And everybody's bowing down and kissing their kneecaps to see, hey, because they don't want to be viewed as a racist. But do your due diligence before you line up with Black Lives Matter. Do your due diligence and find out who they really are. They're not about black people. They're not about the black family. They're definitely not about God and religion. They're actually saying they want to tear down a patriarchal society and make it a matriarchal society. They want to tear down the family. And we already have issues in black community with family, with a dad and a mom being in the house raising kids. So we already have issues like that. We don't need anybody else coming and doing that to black folks. We don't need that. Okay, what we need is to get our families together. We need husbands to be husbands, wives to be wives, so we can raise these kids right. Now, we ain't all perfect, but raise your kids right, the way we was raised. So just keep this in mind. Just think about it. Command. People are command, and they're fighting for power. Now, we know God is in control. As a Christian, you know God's in control. He's in control of everything. He's always in control. Okay? God will not be mocked. He's in control. Sometimes he allows us to make our own decisions, especially when as people, we know about God, but we step away from him. Then he allows us to basically eat the fruits of our own labor, which is not always good. Matter of fact, most of the time it's not good, but it is what it is. But he is in control of the situation. Even though it might not seem like it, he's in control. He is the one who has command and control. Okay, he is the one who caused the shots. So that's why we bow down to the Almighty, because he's the one who caused the shots. And we're stepping away from that as a nation, and we're gonna have to look at the consequences of it. And that's where we're heading. And I went longer than I wanted to go with this video, but just watch who's out and struggling and trying to get command and control. And by the way, while I'm thinking about it, that little autonomous zone they had in Seattle, police finally busted it up. And this is what happens when you take law enforcement out and you take the police. I ain't a great lover of police, but when you take them out of the equation, this is what happened. 3-4 people murdered in the space of a couple weeks. Businesses all tore up. People were locked into the place. There's going to be lawsuits against the mayor of Seattle and the city of Seattle, and should be. She should have never let that happen. Never let it happen. But when they decided they were coming to her house, that's the end of it. We're gonna shut it down. Took them about 45 minutes, and they went in there and bulldozed them and got them out of there. So hopefully nobody else tries that. But this is the summer of discontent, y'all. There's more to come. Hey, I hope y'all have a good day. We're starting off a week, another week. Praise the Lord. And I love y'all. Hey, like, share, subscribe, do whatever it is y'all do, and hit that bell so you get a notification whenever I do a video. And like I said, I love y'all, and be safe, stay with the Lord, and keep your face in the Word. All right? Love y'all.